Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us today for the next webinar in our What's New series. In today's webinar, we'll cover some of the newest features in Microsoft 365 that you can implement in your business, as well as looking at some really exciting new developments that are coming in the future that give us a bit of an insight into where Microsoft is headed and how potentially we all might be working in the next few years. Don't feel like you need to make notes or take it all in straight away, as we'll be sending out a recording of the webinar later today, along with a follow-up fact sheet just to give you all the detail of everything that you might need to implement this tech. Also, if you have any questions, please do feel free to drop those into the Q&A box at the side at any time. I'll do my best to keep an eye on those, but if I miss any, there is also some dedicated time at the end as well for some Q&A. So let's take a look at the agenda for today's webinar. We'll be starting off by just doing a brief introduction to Bedrock and our 8 Rocks process. Following on, we'll be looking at the new Bookings with Me functionality for Outlook. Microsoft Teams is getting a bit of a speed boost. There are also some new video options for Teams meetings, including the ability to add a second content feed. Then we'll be looking at the integration of AI tools into your everyday work. And lastly, we'll be looking at Microsoft Loop and how it has finally reached its next stage of expansion. Finally, we'll be looking at what's next and the next steps for this webinar. So a bit of a welcome and an introduction for those of you who might not have heard of us before. My name's Jennifer Benge and I'm the marketing manager at Bedrock. Bedrock is an IT managed service provider and Microsoft partner. This means that most of the IT we implement is based on the Microsoft stack. This includes Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams, Azure, etc. We're also experts in secure, resilient networks and managed IT solutions where high performance is critical. This means that we have worked with organisations that have some of the highest security requirements in the UK. The most important thing we want to achieve, no matter what your organisation does, is to help your business grow better by having a supportive IT strategy. We do this with the help of our 8 strategic rocks. So as you can see on the screen here, we've got skills, data, backup, investment, strategy, security, quality of service, and collaboration. The collaboration rock is the focus of this series of webinars, as the tools within Microsoft 365 are at their heart collaborative and productivity tools. So the reason we started this webinar series was just to make sure that you're getting the most out of those tools that you're probably already investing in and using all the features that you might not be aware of. So I mentioned there the 8 Rocks assessment. So what that is a stakeholder workshop, which is designed to get consensus on your business priorities within your organisation. This can be conducted face-to-face or virtually, and it gets leaders and investors aligned behind the best ways to use IT to solve your business issues. It also allows you to address cost savings and investment decisions. There's no actual cost implications to you doing this stakeholder workshop with us. All we ask is that it's a mutual investment of time, so we have the key stakeholders who are involved in your business. So again, this would allow you to agree the right priorities, find immediate cost savings, and agree a scope for a more detailed analysis. If that's something that you think could be beneficial to your organisation, we'll be sending out more information about that later today as well. And do feel free to contact us if you would like to book in that free assessment. So let's get started on the what's new features that we've got coming up this month. So first up, we've got Bookings with Me functionality for Outlook. This hopes to help you reduce the back and forth of scheduling meetings while helping you maintain control of your calendar. So for example, even though we can see each other's calendars often when we're booking a meeting, it's sometimes tricky to know exactly when would be the best time to book a meeting with different individuals within an organisation. So with this Bookings with Me functionality, you'll be able to create custom bookable slots to share with others so they can easily find a time to schedule any kind of different meeting that you set up. So for example, here I'm going to show you how we use this Bookings with Me functionality to set up a one-to-one meeting and a more just casual chat meeting as well. This is due to be enabled by default in late May, so look out for it then, but you can also currently access it via Outlook Online by adding /bookings with me at the end of the domain for your Outlook. So upon opening your new Bookings with Me page, which is also called the Bookings dashboard, you'll notice there's a Get Started pane here, which you can click on to start booking your meeting types. You'll be able to create meeting types for various purposes and name them accordingly. So to do this, you just need to click the plus sign within the public meeting pane to create a meeting type. You can see here that I've created two meeting types, a basic 30-minute catch-up and a weekly one-to-one catch-up. You can specify times and days when each meeting type is available to be booked. So, for example, on the right of the screen there, you can see that I prefer to have one-to-one meetings on a Friday. So I've blocked out the option to book it on any other day. So if someone goes to book a one-to-one meeting with me, they'll find that's only available on a Friday. So you can set all these different functions and options so that your meeting preferences are really there in the public and you're only getting the meetings booked at the time that you want them. Your created meetings will then appear on your meetings dashboard page. So some of the other options that are available to explore and customize your meeting options include categories. So they would be the same as your normal Outlook categories and would only be visible to you. You can add descriptions, so give people an idea of the purpose of the meeting that they're booking. You can choose a location, so whether that's physical or online, so a Teams meeting. You can set a duration, so by default the duration that it will give you is 30 minutes, but you can change that to whatever duration you would prefer. And you can also have options for public or private meeting availability. So you can have some private options that are only available to specific people that you give a meeting link to. Within those timing specifications, there are also a few different options. So you can set your meeting hours, either by using your default working hours that are already known by Outlook, or you can specify custom availability. You can add buffers before or after your meetings so that if you know you often end up booked for the full day, you can allow yourself a bit of time in between each meetings to allow yourself to go and get a cup of tea, do whatever you need to do between your meetings so you're not stuck at your desk all day. And you can also specify a minimum lead time. So if it's the type of meeting that you might need to do some preparation for, get some documents ready before you go into that meeting, you can specify the minimum amount of time that booking needs to be done prior to the meeting time itself. Okay, so I think that would be useful. Again, look out for that coming soon in May as standard, but it is available through that link at the moment on the Outlook domain. Once you've set up all of those options for your meetings, you can then personalize your page and let others know it's available for them to schedule meetings with you. So to do this, all you need to do is click that share button for available page sharing options. So on that list there, you've got copy link, which allows you to put your public booking page into a clipboard for easy sharing. You've got share via email, which just drops that link automatically into an email with the option to send the function for bookings with me. And you've also got the option there to add your link to the email signature so that everyone can just easily do it. If they're having any kind of email communication with you, they can then click on the link in your footer and book a time for a longer chat. Okay, next on our agenda today, we've got Microsoft Teams is getting a speed boost. So this is kind of a Teams 2.0, if you like. It's a complete overhaul of everything to do with Microsoft Teams. And Microsoft have made a significant investment to overhaul the whole Teams platform with the aim of making it twice as fast whilst using half of the system resources. So I don't know if you've noticed through doing things on your computer, sometimes Teams can actually make everything run really slowly because it's a big, heavy app, and it takes up a lot of space at the moment. So Microsoft have prioritized speeding up the user interactions that occur most frequently, including switching between different chats, channels, and activities. So apparently, this is something I didn't know, which is quite interesting. On average, a typical user switches 10,000 times a month. So that's switching between different chats, different teams, different pages within Teams. And that emphasizes the importance of a faster and more responsive experience. So with the new Teams, switching between chats, channels, and activities will be instant. So you won't have any time spent waiting for a page to load. The new Teams app has been optimized for resource utilization as well, so that enables it to free up memory and disk space for other applications and provide compatibility with a broader range of computers. So if you've potentially got some older devices running within your organization, this will hopefully make it slightly easier for Teams to run on those. The other update that we're getting with this new version of Teams is the ability to have multiple accounts working in Teams at the same time. So up until now, it's been challenging to collaborate across organizations and manage multiple workloads. You cannot, with the current version of Teams that we've got at the moment, you can't receive real-time notifications during calls or meetings across organizations or accounts. So switching from one organization to another, it interrupts your workflow since it requires you to log in and out constantly. The new Teams will enable you to work more effectively across organizational boundaries by being actively signed in to multiple accounts at the same time and being able to receive real-time notifications all while a different account is in use. So you'll be able to seamlessly engage with users across multiple accounts without having to drop out of a call or meeting, ensuring there's no disruption to your workflow. So this could be useful potentially if you're consulting with different organizations or you're working with other external organizations and you need to keep switching between those accounts. You won't need to do that so much anymore, and it will be far more easy for you to keep an eye on all your notifications coming in across different accounts. It does probably mean that you could be on a call with one organization and being distracted by a notification from another. So that, you know, there are some downsides to that potentially. I think you'd have to be quite disciplined to make sure your focus is within the organization that you're meant to be in at that time. But it is useful to keep an eye on that and have all your notifications coming in. Okay, so here again, here's the other example of how that would look within Teams. Your multiple accounts showing up all within your account badge at the top there. So you can see it will show you as online in one, busy in another, and that's how it would work there. So you can add your accounts and have them all listed within your user profile within Teams. Next up, we've got new video options for Teams meetings. So avatars for Teams has started rolling out in the public preview phase, and that's in the Microsoft Teams desktop app on Windows and Mac. So according to research, video usage is highly correlated to meeting participation. So I think it's fairly clear if you are on camera within a meeting, you're more likely to be engaged and actually paying attention to what's going on in that meeting rather than hiding behind your profile picture. However, again, according to research, only 30% of participants currently meet with their video on, which is surprisingly low to me. Some organisations work against this statistic by having policies in place that just state that you have to have your camera on within certain meetings, or perhaps within all internal meetings as well. So that's one way of getting around it, but Microsoft are here arguing that here's another way to get people more involved in meetings. So Microsoft are launching the avatar function with the pitch that having an avatar representing you is better than not being visible at all. It gives you a camera break while still allowing you to collaborate effectively. It may help some people to get more involved if they feel really uncomfortable having their standard video on. They may feel more comfortable to actually speak up and get involved if they kind of appear as their avatar version. I'd be interested to know what you think about this, because I personally, I prefer just to attend as myself, I think, rather than having an avatar or wasting time trying to create my avatar that represents me perfectly. But yeah, I would be interested to know what you think, potentially if you would use it, if you could see other people within your organisation using it as well. So again, that is rolling out now in public preview and is available on the Microsoft Teams desktop app in Windows and Mac. Next up in video options for Teams meetings, we've got the release that you will soon be able to add content from camera as an extra camera feed alongside your normal video feed. This is provided that you have a separate camera available for it. So content from camera was added to Teams a couple of years ago, allowing you to share content from notes or on a whiteboard. The video playing now is from one of our older webinars showing how that content from camera works. So as a reminder, if you did want to use this feature, if you can't remember the steps for doing this, all you need to do is start the meeting, and then within the meeting controls, select Share Content, select Content from Camera, and then choose either document or whiteboard, depending on the content you want to share. And then using the preview screen to guide you, you just place your camera so that your document or whiteboard is in the frame. So instead of just using one or the other, of having your video available, your video feed available, or having your content available, provided you've got 2 camera devices, you'll be able to have both at the same time. This has been spoken about as a new release coming soon, but the actual release date was pushed back just recently by Microsoft, so we don't have an official release date for when this will be available, but we do anticipate this is coming soon. So the next few slides are a longer term look at how AI tools are going to integrate in our everyday work. So you've probably by now heard of GPT, I always get that messed up, and have probably or maybe heard about how GPT-4 is now being integrated into Microsoft's web search engines to become Bing chatbots. So you can see an example of how that looks there. I've literally screenshotted that off of Bing this morning, so it's publicly available right now. You're able to search by chatting to Bing chatbot right now. At the moment, this can be fun to have a go on, I think, but at this stage, it's probably not having a huge impact on your day-to-day work. So looking at how that will change, I think that will likely change as Microsoft launch Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot is currently in the very early testing stage at the moment. It's currently being used by around 20 Microsoft customers, and we don't have any official release dates or pricing yet. So it will be further down the line, I would say, probably into next year by the time this is actually publicly available. Microsoft 365 Copilot will be integrated into the apps you already use every day. And the idea is that it will take away some of the boring admin type tasks off of your plate and give you more time to do the work that the robots can't do yet. I mean, the way things are going, who knows? So Copilot in Word writes, edits, summarizes, and creates right alongside what you're already doing. So you can see the demo playing at the moment. That's an example within Microsoft Word. Word will create a first draft for you, bringing in information from across your organisation as needed. It can also add content to existing documents, summarise text, and rewrite sections of the entire document to make it more concise. You can even get suggested tones of voice to help you get the finished product that you're after. Copilot can also help you improve your writing with suggestions that strengthen your argument, perhaps, or smooth inconsistencies. So that's kind of an extension of what the technology we've been using for years with spell checker and grammar and all of that. This is just the next step forwards into using that technology to help you get a tone of voice, to help you decide what you need to say, and to help you summarize what you've already written. So for some examples of what you could use Microsoft 365 Copilot for in Word would be, you can ask it to draft a 2-page project proposal based on data from either a document or a spreadsheet or both. It can combine different sources of data. You'd be able to just ask it to make this more concise for me. If you feel like you've potentially rambled a bit and you need it a bit more simple or a bit more casual for people to read. You can also ask it to create a 1-page draft based on an outline that you give it. So perhaps give it some bullet points of what you want to say, and it will create a whole 1-page draft of text for you. So this is not restricted just to Word. We've also got Copilot in Excel. So Copilot in Excel will help you to analyze and explore your data. You can ask Copilot questions in just natural language rather than trying to remember formulas and asking it in sort of the mathematical way that you're used to having to use Microsoft Excel. So I wouldn't say I'm a natural at Microsoft Excel, some people just know exactly what formulas to put in all the time. I would have to look up the more difficult formulas. So this is really interesting to someone like me who could just ask it a question in natural language and it could present the data for me. It can also reveal correlations, propose what-if scenarios, and suggest new formulas based on your questions. So this would generate models to explore your data without actually modifying all of the data itself. You'll be able to identify trends, create powerful visualizations, and ask for recommendations to drive different outcomes. So examples of questions that you could ask Copilot in Excel would include, give me a breakdown of the sales by type and channel, and then show it to me in a table. You could ask it to project the impact of something changing within your organization and generate a chart to visualize that. And you could ask it to model how a change in the growth rate for something you're looking at would impact any kind of gross margin within your organization. Next up, we've got Copilot in PowerPoint. You can see where this is going. Copilot is coming to all of those Microsoft 365 apps that we're already using. So Copilot in PowerPoint helps you to turn your ideas into effective presentations. Copilot can transform existing written documents into decks, complete with speaker notes and sources, or it can just start a whole new presentation from a simple prompt or outline. You can condense lengthy presentations at the click of a button and use natural language commands to adjust layouts and reformat text. So here we go again with some questions that you could ask Copilot within PowerPoint to do for you. You could ask it to create a 5-slide presentation based on a Word document and include relevant photos to go along with that text. You could ask it to consolidate a presentation into a 3-slide summary. And you could ask it to reformat just a set of bullet points into a presentation for you, complete with pictures and more visual layouts. The last one we're going to just take a quick preview look at here is Copilot for Outlook. So this one, I think, potentially would be the most interesting for me at this stage, just because I know that the time that I spend going through my inbox, going through all my emails, could be better spent elsewhere often. So that's what Microsoft are aiming to do with Copilot in Outlook. It works with you in your inbox, so you can spend less time on email triage and more time on the actual communication. So you'll be able to summarize lengthy, convoluted emails on big email threads into just summaries along with what people have said within that chain and any questions that are yet to be answered. You'll be able to respond to an existing email with a simple prompt or turn quick notes into professional messages, pulling from other emails or content you already have access to. So I think if you're used to working with someone who often sends you simple one-word replies, one-sentence replies, if they suddenly get a lot more lengthy and a lot more detailed, chances are a robot's writing that for them. You'll also be able to use toggles to adjust the tone or length of the note as well. So some questions that you could ask Copilot in Outlook to answer for you are: summarize the emails I missed while I was out last week and flag any important items. So rather than slogging through your entire inbox for you, Copilot can dig out those most important emails. You can draft a response. So ask it to say, draft a response thanking this person and asking for more details, and it will use those simple bullet points to write a longer email for you. And you can also ask it to invite everyone to a lunch and learn about a new product, for example, and it will set up the email and the invite for you. So again, these things are not ready to be turned on anytime soon, but it is just, I think, interesting and quite important to know that this is where Microsoft are headed in the future. And this is the stuff that we'll potentially be looking at implementing over the next couple of years. Finally, something that is actually happening right now, which we've been talking about for a very long time, and I personally am very excited about. I promised I'd let you know when this happened. Microsoft Loop components are now available and working across Microsoft Teams and Outlook, including the Outlook desktop app, which wasn't available when we last spoke about it. So using Loop, you can transfer information that is constantly live across multiple apps and make sure everyone's up to date with the latest information that, within that note. So you can catch up in far more detail about this from many of our previous webinars, which you can find on our YouTube channel or on the Bedrock website. Speaking of our YouTube channel, just quickly on that, please do go ahead and subscribe to that channel if you found these webinars of value at any point. And that way I can keep providing these webinars for free and bringing you the latest updates from Microsoft 365 on a monthly basis. So if you do want to find our YouTube channel, just go to YouTube and type in Bedrock, BEDROQ, and you'll find our channel there. So finally, we just wanted to update you on the next webinar in our series, which is coming soon. So the next webinar within the What's New series is going to take place on the 4th of May, and you can register now. Cara has kindly just dropped that link into the announcements box, so you can click the link and register straight away from there. And we look forward to seeing you at that next webinar on the 4th of May. We do have a few comments that have come in during the course of the webinar, so I'm just going to take a moment to look at those now as well. So we've got a question about when will the Teams preview stop being a preview and go live for everybody? So I don't have a solid confirmed date for that yet, but the fact that it is in widespread public preview means that it will be coming soon. As soon as we have a sort of an official date on that, I'll publish that for you, and we'll talk about it in the next webinar as well. So as soon as that Teams version 2.0 is coming for everyone, we'll let you know. Someone's just put no avatars. Not a fan. Not a fan of the avatars. I have to say I would tend to agree with you. I just think, you know, we've just about got used to all doing these virtual meetings with videos on now. Why would we want to move another step further away from actually just talking to each other as human beings? I personally probably won't be using the avatar, but I'll be interested to see if people within our organization will, or potentially if you give me feedback if it takes off in your organization as well. Any news on Copilot in Power BI yet, please? Nothing that I have seen. I agree, you've said AI within a full data set seems high value. Absolutely. I can't see that Microsoft aren't working on that at the moment, but there's nothing that they've sort of officially published on that. But yeah, like you say, that will be absolutely such a powerful tool when that is available. And as soon as we get any more information about Power BI and Copilot working together, I will let you know. Is Loop available externally from our domain, or is it internal use only? I will have to double check that one. I'm not sure. I believe at the moment, if you have external users with access to your Teams and chats, they will be able to see those loops. But I will have to double check if that will be sort of the full functionality will be there if it's being used by external users. So I will get back to you, John, on that. And the new loop component is not available on the new Teams preview. Will it come? Absolutely, it will come. As soon as I have a date for that again, I will let you know. Fingers crossed we won't have to wait so long for the full loop functionality to come on the new Teams preview. That would seem cruel after we've waited for so long for it to appear on the current version of Teams. But yeah, I'm sure it will be available. And as soon as we have more detail about the date that that's actually going to happen, I will let you know. Someone said, I'm a fan, sorry, so looking forward to it, of avatars. Okay, Rachel, fair enough. There we go. We've showed both points of view here. We've got someone who says absolutely not, and someone who says they're really looking forward to it. So absolutely, I think there will be a place for these avatars to appear and be used. You know, I like technology. I'm looking forward to it being used and finding out more about it. I just don't think I will be using it very much personally, but we shall see. Maybe next month I'll be presenting as an avatar. Okay, thank you for joining us, everyone, today. Please do use that link to sign up for the next webinar in May, if that would interest you. Take a look at our YouTube channel, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you very much, everyone.